I am so proud of our School of Business, of our faculty from around the college. We thank our deans, and most of all, we thank you for your interest in this global problem of poverty. We've been working, we started the Global Center for Ethics and Social Responsibility 5 years ago at the college to address, with the help of outside members on our board, to address the issue of global sustainability. We started with climate change, we've moved to water, health, and now poverty. And this is so important because no matter what we do as professionals, it's important who we are and that we understand the plight of people in our world and that we're connected as a global community. So thank you for your interest. Please feel free to ask questions that will make it more interactive and more interesting for everyone. And again, it's my pleasure to introduce one of our deans, Dean Cahill, who put together this program. So thank you, Christine.
Greetings and welcome to St. Thomas Aquinas College's Annual Sustainability Day. As Dr. Fitzpatrick mentioned, over the years, the School of Arts and Sciences, School of Business, and School of Education have hosted various events to highlight issues of sustainability. And we've explored such topics as access to clean water, sustainable business practices, and climate change. This year's theme of examining poverty was chosen by the Sustainability Committee, which consists of administrators, staff, and faculty here at the college. The day consists of several events, including this panel discussion focused on various issues related to poverty. I'd like to thank my colleagues here today and that couldn't join us, particularly those in the School of Business who helped shape today's events. Our panelists include Christopher Gallagher from TD Bank and a proud graduate of STAT, Lisa KREISEL, Marketing and Public Relations Coordinator of Childcare Resources of Rockland, Dr. ERIK RENGIFO, Professor of Economics and Advisor to the Students for Fair Trade Club at Fordham University, and JONELLE Ward, Community Engagement Manager and Diversity Specialist for the Hudson Valley Chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Panelist discussions will take a closer look at poverty in each of their areas of work. In addition, my colleagues Dr. Trundafilov and Dr. Engels will discuss the STAC Spring 2017 Fair Trade course that they developed that was based on the work of our first speaker and Fordham University's program. And you can see some of the products of that class over here. So at this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Trundafilov to the podium to introduce our first panelist.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to introduce Professor ERIK RENGIFO. Professor ERIK RENGIFO is a professor of economics at Fordham University. He is very widely published in the areas of finance, economics, and now fair trade. He's the creator of and the founder of Space Nova, which is a website allowing producers in developing countries to distribute their product into the United States. He's also the founder, one of the founders for the Center for International Policy Studies, and he has been working to promote the idea of fair trade and involve students for many, many years now. Without any further ado, Professor ERIK RENGIFO.
Thank you, Rosen. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me here. It's my real pleasure being here. And believe it or not, I'm very close to you guys. I've been working with Rosen for the last 2 years and Didre for the last 2 years. And we have been trying to promote something that we have been doing at Fordham University for almost 5 years. Let me tell you, I will start talking about what is Space Nova and how Space Nova involves students, not only across USA, but tries to involve more students across different parts of the world. So we are focusing our efforts in South America and now going to Asia and Africa. And so I will tell you a little how this idea started. The idea of Space Nova, guys, it started with the idea of sustainability. So what we understand by sustainability is basically having something that can support itself itself in time, right? So this implies that as soon as we're not working on these machines, we have human beings, and we need to convince human beings to work on something that they believe in, and they work forever, right? It's not only being part of a university, but also take this as part of your common work when you go out and work in Citibank, TD Bank, or wherever, because this idea does not stay here in the university, right? And we are having very beautiful experiences now with people that are working in the banking sector. They are now looking for ideas of how can I continue doing what I started doing in the university. Fair trade ideas, how can I fight poverty, not only globally, but in my local community. Remember, Fordham University, guys, is located in the Bronx. So we have a great experience dealing with poor people just in front of our building. Got it? So the basic idea is to motivate you, is to provide you some insight that what we are doing is not simply a vague idea. We have been working on this for years now, and we have an economic business support that is basically helping us to build up this thing that we call Space Nova. Okay? So the first thing you need to remember is that Space Nova means simply, is Latin, means new hope, and we are changing the names a lot, we're translating the names a lot, but it's basically new hope. New hope to do is basically new hope to help someone else that is not ourselves, is not our local community, but also helping someone else in the world. Right? And you want to see how this works. Let me see. Yeah. Well, I will talk about the vision and mission of. I think I will come back to this later. Let me talk about something that is crucial for us. Okay, and what is crucial for us, guys, is the support of our ideas. What we are saying, or what we name the three-pillar approach, is the following. Have you heard about microfinance? Yes, have you heard about microfinance?
Yes.
Yes, for those of you, it was not a redundant yes, but what happens is the following, guys. Microfinance is simply, imagine, like banking, very, very, very small banking to local individuals that have a small business. Got it? I'm separating consumption from business ideas. So I'm talking about microcredits or microfinance as those funds that go to finance micro businesses. Got it? So you can imagine a small bank in Kenya that just works for 40 households. Or you can imagine a small bank in Peru that works for 100 families. But what is interesting about microfinance, guys, is that this is growing incredibly. Small microfinance institutions that were small 10 years ago now are extremely big banks. Kenya, for example. Got it? Kenya and Peru, they have extremely very powerful, enormous banks that started as microfinance institutions. So what is the basic idea of microfinance? Microfinance is simply helping the local producers, local food producers, to start growing the business. Okay? So the idea of getting finance is the same as getting finance here or in Peru. You get money to grow your business. Got it? If you don't have working capital, you cannot basically grow your business. So that's why you receive this type of money and support from microcredit institutions. Now, any ideas about the interest rate the microfinance or microcredit institutions are charging to the local community? Give me a number. For any small business. Someone has an idea of the number? 2%. 2%? Yeah. Okay, 2%. A little high. Someone. Yeah, well, 30%. Is it 30%? It's crazy, you know? Yeah, Rosen is crazy. 30%? You're a new guy. Can you pay 30%? What do you think? 5%. Okay, guys. One more guess. 7%. Okay, let me tell you the average, world average 2016. Okay, and the winner is 42%. Average. Okay, so this implies that we have close to 100 and more or less close to 20. Okay, so 42% average, guys, for these local poor individuals. Okay, the average banking, normal banking in Latin America is around 16%. So these guys pay a premium of almost 20-something%. Got it? So, there comes the other part of the question. So, you know what? How is it possible that these microfinance guys get a loan to 42% if they can get something at 15% in the local banks? Any ideas? Very simple issue. Banks don't accept it. Okay? So if you are a local producer that has a small machine and has no house, or has no property rights on your land, you're gone. The bank is going to look at you and say, you know what, okay, go back, out. They don't want to see you. And I think my colleague is going to talk about something about inclusion or this stuff that is really crucial, because getting access to finance helps you grow your business. If you don't have access to finance, or if you have access to finance, paying these enormous rates, something that damages you immediately. Right? So imagine, guys, creating a business plan. Okay, you're going to do business in the future. First hurdle, 42% interest rate on the capital you're going to raise. Do you imagine that? So immediately your credit simply can collapse because of that. Make sense? So now, I'm not saying that microfinance is good or bad, but it has a lot of potential, has helped a lot of people, creates a lot of problems, of course, but in average, microfinance is seen as something that has helped a lot of people get rid of poverty. Right? Now, what is interesting, default rate. And with this, I finish microfinance. Can you give me an idea of default rates? 42% interest rate average. What do you think is the default rates worldwide? Give a number, 1%. Someone. 20%. Someone else. 85%. Well, let me give you a reference. USA, the default rate in the banking sector is around 1.7% last year. Okay. Okay, ready? 1.2%. 1.2%. That's why microfinance is calling the attention of a lot of normal bankers. That's why we have Citibank in Latin America getting into the business of microfinance. That's why we have very, very powerful banks going into the business of microfinance. Hopefully, in time, we're going to observe that the prices start decreasing because these guys are playing at entering into the game. Hopefully. Got it? So, the basic idea, guys, remember, is to have a sustainable and what we call inclusive development. Okay? Sustainability is not enough. We have seen that in microeconomics. You know what? There are countries that are growing amazingly, but in terms of income distribution, we have troubles. Do you agree? So there is this famous 1%. Have you heard about the famous 1% problem? 1% of the population is getting almost 1/3 of total wealth. It's not only a problem in the USA, it's a problem worldwide. So this having development doesn't mean necessarily that you are including all your population. Okay? So the concept that we're managing is, okay, we want to have something sustainable, but also inclusive. So we want to find ways of reaching the people that is just below, the people that are people not named in the bottom of the pyramid. Make sense? Now, do you see, this is my system. If I tell you guys, I have developed microfinance, do you believe we have a sustainable and inclusive development system? What do you think? That's all what we need to create development. Yes or no? No. You know, just by the graph, do you believe this is stable? Having one column with a rock in the top like that? It's not stable at all. So, give me ideas. How do we stabilize the system? What is left? Always think, guys, from your business perspective, or analyze the businesses. Okay, businesses need money. Of course, they need money. What else they need? Okay, human resources, yes. What else? What else, guys? What determines if you survive in your business or you simply disappear very soon? What? Ideas? Come on, guys, tell me. Yes, of course, we are going to produce products, but what are related to products? Everything that I produce. Yes, okay, I'm a smart guy, I need to create a profit, yes. What else? So guys, imagine that I create now a product, and I really love this product, it's a really good product. I'm done with my business? Depends on what? Guys, I need to sell it. Yes or no? Of course, I can have the most beautiful product, beautiful design, I love it. You know, it's top quality. Then I say, okay, who buys it? No one buys it. Don't. Do you agree? Now, there are two possible ways why the people don't buy it, and one of them is the one that we're going to focus now. One of the main reasons why the people don't buy is because they don't have exposure. Do you agree? So no one knows that I have this beautiful product. And if no one knows that I have this beautiful product, I'm done. Right? Now, if I have resources, of course I can do some marketing strategies, I can do some publicity here and there, you know, social media that is great now, I can do it. Now, everyone can do that? I'm pretty sure you know social media, you know, your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know how to use it. At least you know you play with that, and you more or less can say, I can share my idea and try to convince the people to believe like me. I can do that. Now, move yourselves, guys, into a rural place in Kenya. Okay, the computer, first of all, light comes 1 hour a day, if you're lucky. And the next school close to your place is going to be more or less by car is 5 hours. Should be 30 minutes, but the roads are so crazy that it takes you 5 hours. And you have the risk of being simply kidnapped or killed in a street. Okay, so education is sometimes not an issue simply of willing, but also couldn't or trying to do that. Really impossible to do that. So it is easy for you or not? Then you are gone. Really, guys, you are gone. Okay, so you cross your finger that something happens and some tourist comes to your place and see your dog and buy it, and then he disappears and that's it. So you really cross your finger for that. And this is natural, guys. How many of you have been outside USA? When I say outside USA, I don't imply Europe also. Where? Latin America or Africa or any other country that is not European or American. Can raise your hand. Where have you? Jamaica. That's a beautiful example. Okay, what other country? Bahamas. Well, in the beach side or? Yeah. You know, guys, what is interesting about these touristic places is that tourism is very interesting and very necessary. Why? Because this is one way of producers to get to expose their products. Do you agree? And what is interesting, guys, is that touristic season is so important. That's why governments invest so much money in tourism. It's because that's the only opportunity that these producers have to sell their products. Once the touristic season happens, then what happens with the producer? Gone. I cannot sell. I cannot produce. I cannot sell. So I simply disappear. Okay? So that's why these producers are always praying to get as much as they can during this season. Because they know if they don't have anything else, if they don't sell in this season, they're done. Disappear. Make sense to you? So what I'm telling you guys is that indeed we need to have a second pillar that is as important or perhaps more important perhaps than financing at the very beginning. Got it? So and here is where we can do something. In the finance side, we can do, of course I will show you how to do that and how we are tackling this problem in Fordham University, but indeed what we can do is help in market development. Now, how do you imagine we can help local producers in Bolivia to simply tell us first of all what they can produce, and perhaps we can help them on model design, quality, we can help them in some ways. How do you think we can do that? If you do your own corporation, can you do that? Yes or no? Yeah, guys, there are a couple of my students are now working directly in their own businesses, actually with Bolivia. So, of course, if you get in touch with one local producer and you work with him constantly, you work with him in product design, quality, you know, rules, etc., you can establish a relationship and then you can start working with him. Got it? And so what is your participation in the business? Basically, you give marketing to these products. Got it? Now, how many of us can do that or are willing to do that? Very few. Do you agree? Very, very few. So, big transnationals, big multinational corporations, are they interested in working with these small local artisans? Some of them, and they have funds. So remember that this social responsibility issue, 10 years ago no one talked about that in Wall Street. Now everyone is talking about this stuff. Okay? So everyone is separating part of the profit, very, very small part, but it doesn't matter. At least we started for this type of pensions. Okay? We're starting, but we're not yet there. So how else we can contribute with market development? How we can help someone in Haiti to sell their products? What do you think we are developing, guys? Who really have the passion to do this type of thing? Really? Who do you think, guys? Okay, let me tell you a little about what we are doing at Fordham University. Okay, related to this market construction, market development issue. Imagine the following scenario: we have students at this university working in a class of marketing research or whatever. And imagine that we put you in contact with people, another university, another student in Haiti, right? Also doing marketing research or something related to development. What is the advantage that you have, guys? Tell me, any advantages that you can have into this partnership? Because remember, it's a business, okay? If you do a business, you need to provide something to the business, correct? So if you want to partner with someone in Haiti, what do you contribute to the partnership? What can we contribute to the partnership? Distribution channels, crucial, you agree? So we provide that online, but also we have the campus fairs, we can have a bunch of other types, ways of reaching people. What else? Okay, we provide these guys, we can provide these guys with an opportunity to have a distribution channel that they have never even thought about. What else? Guys, what else? What else you can contribute to the business? I'm Haiti, guys, I'm asking you. Sorry? Money, yeah, that's possible, so it's microcredit can be involved there. Completely right. What else can we provide? Yeah, can be access to technology. Do you agree? Guys, there are some technologies that are so cheap and available here that are completely unknown there and that can be simply translated to this country. We can do that. Technology, what else? Exposure through channels of distribution. That's completely right. What else? What else, guys? Now, let me tell you from the business perspective. Do you remember before the ideas of businesses in USA and everywhere was product is first, do you agree? The consumers are going to buy everything that I produce, yes or no? It was the 60s and 70s. Everything that was produced was forced to be bought by people. Now, are you sure this happens now? If I produce something that is beautiful for me but extremely ugly for you, are you going to buy that? You know what? Perhaps if I give you a talk about social, responsibility, you're going to say, okay, yeah, okay, I contributed once. But the second time, are you going to buy that? No. Because you know what, you did it with a social feeling, but after that, you know what is that? I don't understand what this product is. Okay? So now, guys, you just think about USA business now. What is first? Product or client? It's a client. You agree? So that's why Facebook is earning so much money, because they first need to understand the client. So what the client needs, what the client is looking for. Do you understand? Do you think you can contribute also with that? Of course, guys. You have access to, for example, we're buying ponchos from Colombia, Cali. The product is very nice, but the design is completely, when we saw the first time, we said, oh, yeah, the quality is very nice, but no one is going to buy this here. Got it? But we know what is a trend. So we simply do an online research. The students did an online research, analyze what is trending here, what the designs are beautiful, what is the quality that is required here. We help these guys with that. Now they are producing this type of ponchos. Prices went from $20. Now we are selling the ponchos at $70. And the people enjoy it. Because it's a very good quality, and I will talk more about transparency issues. We don't want to make money here, right? Okay, that's the main goal, and I think that's what helps us to be creative like that. Make sense to you? So that very, very important contribution that you can have here, guys, is helping these guys understand the market needs, helping these guys with production quality, coloring, and also regulations. Guys, for example, there are toys. Remember that toys are very delicate stuff, you know? Kids are always just eating the toy pieces. So you need to be very careful with it. But these guys don't know about it. So these are the things that you can also contribute. Being here, you just look around how you can help these local producers. And these local producers really appreciate that. Now, the other thing that we had at the very beginning when we started the Space Nova, guys, is that we try to communicate, all of the students try to communicate to local producers. The problem is that local producers, you need to understand that these guys are not as prepared as you. Right? So if you tell them something, you need to be extremely sure that they understood it. Otherwise, they can misunderstand you. Make sense? So it required a lot of time and effort to just be with them. Now, how do we solve this problem? Working with the local universities. So now, for example, in Haiti, we're working now on a joint venture. We call joint venture, it's simply a partnership. With another local university, with another group of students. These students are, believe me, are the people that is more motivated. They know their problems, they know the local communities, and they can really help us. Okay? And they are extremely motivated. When you talk to these guys, you're going to be working as part of your class with American students. They love it. Okay? They love it for different reasons. One, they want to practice English. Another one is that they simply want to know new people. Okay? And so these are the ways, guys, that we can start working to help the sustainability and inclusive development. So we have micro development and micro credit. Okay, now, do you feel that this system is stable? What do you think? So now we can provide access to markets to these producers, and we can also provide money. So that's it. We're safe. The system is stable. We can claim that we have a sustainable model. Yes or no? No, why not? Of course, my graph also, you know what? If something falls into a right, it collapses. So what is next? What is next, guys? Think in terms of America, because that's what happened. America started with businesses, banks start coming, and then the third thing that appeared was what? What is missing? Have you heard about the Mexico earthquake? Of course. Costa Rica problem? Of course. Can you imagine all the small businesses that were simply disappear like, whoop, don't, all the effort of these people for 25 years of cleaning a small shop, gone. And what is more terrible, guys, and that's the problem, is that these guys normally to clean these small shops, they got loans, do you agree? So now they have zero minus what they owe to the bank or to the microfinance institution. So that's why these guys are now below zero. So what is the missing part? There is one missing part, guys. Security, or what we normally call insurance. Agree with me, guys? So we need to insure these guys. We need to provide them means of insuring their assets, insuring their lives. Now the products are there. Okay, I mean, the insurance products exist already, and insurers want to do that. Believe me, guys, it is something amazing. Every time I talk, we have, Express Nova has a line of $250 million to insure. We have used zero. Why? Why, guys, we have used zero? Because we have an idea. Imagine, how many of you don't have a car? Can you raise the hand? One. Who else? No car. Two. Good. So you know what? I will prepare the most beautiful insurance, car insurance for you. I will send it to you. Do you buy it or not? It's very cheap. $20 per month. Yeah, you know, $2 per month. Are you going to buy it or not? Come on, why not? It's cheap. No, why? Because you don't have a car. Do you agree? So if you go to Kenya and you insure someone, you know what? Pay me $2 for your house. And he's going to turn around and say, where's my house? I need first to have my house. Insure your business. Where's my business? Do you understand? So the concept must follow a logic. First, help them create their business, create their assets. Once they have a decent set of assets, they themselves are going to look for insurance. Don't try to do experiments. Remember, Express Nova, just going back a couple of years, it started with microinsurance. Because we were surprised how easy it was to get support from insurers to do insurance products. And then we did a couple of experiments and then we collapsed. And then we realized we did a lot of research. That's the beauty about being in academia, is that you do research and you share ideas with other colleagues in the world. And then we realized that it was crazy. And it is crazy. Okay? But in any case, if you think about that, in time, it makes perfect sense. We need to insure these guys. We need to help these guys to never go back to poverty. And if they go up, they need to stay there. Otherwise, we're not working correctly. And finally, guys, and this is the core of these ideas here, is that everything that we do, everything. You know what? I think I jumped one. Yeah, here. This looks now sustainable for you. So we have 3 pillars, we have 1 base. It looks very strong, right? What is missing? Yeah, just think about a building. You do a building like that, there is something missing, the foundation. And I always tell my students, guys, everything that you do in your life, first focus on the basics. everything. If you want to study something, don't try to do some fancy stuff before going to the basics. If you understand the basics, if you solve really in your mind the basics, everything is going to be much easier. Right? And it's exactly the same what happens here, guys. We are doing all this stuff, but not just because we want to sell or we want to learn some marketing strategies, help these guys, etc. But remember what fundamentally we are doing, what we are trying to do, we're trying to help real human beings. Right? And this is something that must be in your mind. You are working with people. And how do we do that? You know that it's very easy to lose track about the things that we're doing. And how we're trying to tell you guys, we're not working only with products. Remember, you're working with humans. You're working with real women, real kids, real people that have real problems. What we do now, technology helps us a lot. We have done a lot of Skype meetings. The students are able to face and see the local producers, and it's amazing. If you start from freshman years, we have students that have started in freshman years. When you go after 4 years of knowing these individuals, it's so amazing. We have one, our last experience was last week. We talked with a Colombian family. And this family has been working with us for almost 3 years. And it was so amazing when the women of the group said, you know what, we are growing, and what is more interesting, we have a kind of sustainable cash flow. So they don't, remember, what we want is not simply go once and disappear. We want to be them, with them forever. We want to be working with them forever, so they understand that they are going to be receiving a cash flow that is more or less frequent in time. It's not going to be, they're going to be rich, but they know that they're going to be receiving money. This makes a completely different sense. So, and this mom was telling to every one of us, very excited, she was saying, you know what, I decided this year that my kid is going to go to first grade, so it's primary school. Everyone was so excited. You know how old is this guy? 13 years old. He's going to first grade. We're extremely happy. You know what? Because this is something that is tangible for us. We were so excited. We are making changes in the life of this small community. Right? And this makes a lot of sense to you guys, and it must make sense, a lot of sense to you. You're going to see the tangible things that we're going to be doing and helping this guy. Got it? Make sense? So basically what I was telling you is that as part of our training, okay, because Fordham University has instituted this as part of regular classes. So we have 3 classes. We have market research, we have fair trade entrepreneurship, we have impact evaluation, and we have 1 elective. So all this program, all this work that we do, real life work, because you need to do sales, you need to do online training, you need to do a bunch of things, is structured as part of your class. And why Fordham University, we were last year at Fordham University, and one of the donors was saying, I'm very happy because of that, because what we are doing here is not only social, it's good for everyone, but it's also good for our students, because our students are learning how to do real business. Our students are learning that there is something more apart from traditional business, but it's also business. Right? So don't lose track of that. There is a business. Think this as a normal business. Think this as a way of learning about exports and imports. Think this about learning how to design products, how to help people, how to work with people. It's going to be a life-changing for you. Right? So we have the machinery here, we have faculty, we have a lot of, let me tell you, Fordham University this year, in this particular project, we have 150 students. In Bogota, we have around 70 students. In Haiti, we are starting now, so we hope to have at least 25. But that's the idea. Right? So, open to your questions, guys.
Do you have an example of someone that you helped out?
Yes. The Colombian girl. Yes, we have that. Yes, in Kenya, for example, we are buying from these guys. Have you seen? I don't know what. Fordham has this famous rum. It's a toy. So these guys have been producing the rums for almost 5 years. And what we have tracked them is they have improved nutrition, because we are working with the Strathmore University in Kenya. And what these guys are doing is basically evaluating what we have done. That's nice. So they have realized that, have you heard about a 1,000-day window? This means 1,000-day window means, guys, that indeed, if you want to have a child that is properly, it's going to grow properly, he needs to have certain elements and food during the first 1,000 days. Right? So we have been able to raise it to this local community from 600 to almost 900 days. So we have neurometric is a number of people, students, small kids that have been into the school, have more or less increased by 10%. So we are there, it takes time, but we are moving there. And you know what is important about the question is that we're academic, we're an academia, remember that. So we always need to track what we're doing. We can believe we're doing something good, but we're doing something terrible. Or we're not doing what we're expecting to do. So that's why what we do is partnership. So for example, you, as part of the partnership, you're going to be evaluating Fordham University. And Fordham University is going to be evaluating you. Not to try to find mistakes, not to try to say, hey, come on, I'm doing better than you. No. It's basically trying to understand what is working here, what's not working here, and then share ideas and share experiences. That's the idea. We're not competing, we are collaborating. That's what we say. Another question? I think I overpassed my time, I'm sorry. Yep. I'm free, you know, Professor Rosen is here and Lira is there. So please, these are the two guys that are helping us a lot. I'm always available. Okay? Thank you very much, guys.
I'm going to move on to our next speaker, as Dr. RENGIFO mentioned. Think about people in your lives and how you can affect people. And Lisa KREISEL is here from Childcare Resources. I'm proud to sit on the board of Childcare Resources. Those of you who have seen my calendar, I know Dr. Mihal has seen my calendar, and she says, how do you get to everything that you do? This is one thing that I do, and every time when I think about something needs to give in my life, this is not what needs to give, because there's such important work that's done here by Childcare Resources. If you grew up in Rockland County, or even if you did not grow up in Rockland County, you've probably been affected by either Childcare Resources of Rockland or another similar organization. The work that they do means real results for children. So I'll turn it over to Lisa now.
Many years ago, before working for Childcare Resources, I was a grassroots hunger lobbyist, and I got to meet Mohammed Yunus, who is the founder of RENGIFO Bank, which is my understanding was the first microcredit bank in Bangladesh. So you may want to look him up. So yeah, I'm Lisa KREISEL. I work at Childcare Resources of Rockland doing marketing and public relations. We're very passionate about children. I served on the board for 6 years, and for the last 2.5, I have been on staff. Childcare Resources of Rockland is one of 34 resource and referral agencies serving New York State, and we are committed to ensuring that all children receive healthy development, a strong start in school and in life. So we're committed to educating the community about the benefits of quality childcare and to lifting public opinion for there is an urgent need for improved and accessible childcare. So our advocacy is a big arm of our work. But we provide a bridge locally between parents, childcare providers, community leaders, and policymakers. And for parents, we offer free, personalized referrals, resources to help them make informed childcare decisions. And we offer ongoing professional development for childcare professionals. And we also work with employers regarding childcare so that we can help support them in improving their employee retention and attendance and productivity. We believe that all of our children should have access to safe, quality, early learning opportunities, and we advocate for issues concerning children and families on a local, state, and national level. We advocate for increased child care funding, and we also fight for child care policies that support child care professionals with adequate compensation. One of the programs we've created to assist families of low income is the Child Care Tuition Assistance Program, which primarily has been funded through the generosity of the United Way. The Tuition Scholarship Program allows parents to go to work with peace of mind, to take steps to further their education, and really to enhance the overall quality of their lives. I'm going to read a letter that was written by one of the parents who's currently receiving the scholarship, so you can see what it's meant to her family. And her name is Christine. I was lucky enough to receive a phone call from Childcare Resources of Rockland that my son and I were chosen to participate in the United Way Tuition Scholarship Program. Receiving the scholarship has helped my son and me tremendously. The additional funds allow us to get necessary clothing, educational games, books, diapers, and other necessities that I would have otherwise struggled to obtain. As all working parents can understand, it can be very daunting and a stressful experience looking for childcare. However, Childcare Resources of Rockland helped me look for a local, safe childcare provider where my child felt comfortable and I felt safe enough to leave him while I was at work. They also educated me on what questions I should ask and what to look for when I visited a childcare provider. With his childcare provider, my son is able to interact with other children and also learn while he is there. He can play outside and eat healthy food that the provider cooks. It's a safe, clean environment, and I know that my son is well taken care of while I'm at work. My son Jacob and I are extremely grateful to receive the tuition, and I would like to thank Childcare Resources of Rockland and the United Way. There are many more mothers like this one who need financial assistance. We currently have 35 children on the tuition scholarship waiting list, and many parents who walk through our doors to learn about the program and choose not to complete an application, thinking that it's hopeless. It's unfortunate that we cannot, as a society, help all families pay for early education for their children. For some reason, there are some leaders who think moms should stay at home. They still think moms should stay at home and take care of their children. Unless, of course, they're poor, in which case they should go to work so they're not a burden to society. But there are many parents who do work full-time, sometimes 2 jobs, and are still unable to pay their bills, including childcare. We all pay taxes and vote to oversee our public school system, which generally enrolls children at age 5. So why then are we not taking more responsibility for our children's education starting at birth? Today, New York State provides only 17% funding for eligible children. That leaves a lot who are eligible and unable to attend a safe, quality child care environment. And so they're getting a later start. They're being a little left behind. And parents who need but are not receiving that financial support are often forced to put those children in lesser quality situations or unregulated child care settings. And some have no choice but to quit their jobs. Early childhood education, though, is really emerging as a critical national issue, and we need the support of this community to ensure that more and more children receive safe, quality, early care and learning, and that more and more child care settings are meeting our children's developmental needs. So I'm going to show you a short video, which I think you'll enjoy, and I hope that you'll be inspired to make a change for children. And if you are, you can join Childcare Resources in our advocacy efforts. You may want to accompany us when we go on visits with our elected and appointed officials. Perhaps you'd like to add your name to sign-on letters. You can learn more. We have a table at your fair, so I hope you all stop by.
And now countless special needs updates. 3C, the Childcare Crisis. Reporting tonight from Humboldt County, award-winning anchorman Don Hussein.
We are now in day 2 of 3C, the Childcare Crisis. It all began approximately 48 hours ago. On an otherwise normal day in Humboldt County, something very out of the ordinary happened. Child care providers suddenly, and without explanation, inexplicably disappeared.
Hello? Where is everybody?
Hello?
Look! I spoke with Ann Bovine of Lolita, a distraught mother of a tiny tot.
Well, I brought Horace to the child care center like I always do. And no one was there. I didn't know what to do. I had to get to work.
Where do you work?
The California Welcome Center in Arcata. And I'm the only one on duty, so if I don't show up, the doors stay locked. You know, we need the tourist business now more than ever.
That is so true. So what did you do then?
Well, I asked my friends if they could take care of him. But most of my friends work and use childcare too. We're all in the same boat. There was no one available.
I then spoke with Jesse Ainsworth, a single father, stranded with his children.
Did it ever occur to you to hire a babysitter?
Do you have any idea how much a reliable babysitter charges?
What, 50 an hour?
Try 10. I can't afford that. Childcare costs me an arm and a leg as it is.
What about government subsidies that support childcare? Couldn't you get a gift certificate?
Voucher.
A voucher or something?
These programs are drying up because of the budget crisis, and it's getting harder and harder to qualify for the little money that's left.
So, what did you do?
What could I do? I called my supervisor and said I had to stay at home with my kids.
How did the boss react to that?
She was not happy. I wasn't the only one who called in. There were 3 of us stuck without childcare, and we all work in the emergency room.
Paging Dr. Howard. Dr. Mine, Dr. Howard.
I'm here in the emergency room of the local hospital. It seems the healthcare industry in Humboldt County relies heavily for its workforce on parents who in turn rely heavily on having childcare. George Spelvin came to the emergency room this morning with an urgent need. Seems he was in some sort of a construction accident. That was an accident, right?
Yes, I slipped. Little attention here, please. An aspirin? Hello?
Looks like it might be serious.
Yeah, that's why I came to the emergency room. I've been waiting here for hours.
They're short-staffed, Mr. Spelvin, due to the child care crisis. Not enough people have raised their voices and urged their lawmakers not to cut back on these vital services.
Why should we? We don't all need childcare. I'm a bachelor.
Society needs child care, and you are a member of society.
You some kind of socialist?
Just one, if people are not able to access child care, they are not able to go to work. Think of the ripple effect on our economy. Look how it's affected you. Why, you can't even visit the Welcome Center today. How does that make you feel?
Such a headache.
Can I get some more checkers up here, please? Christy? April? Tom?
They're not here. I told you they're not coming in.
I'm here at Wildberries Marketplace. Seems they too are short-staffed due to the child care crisis. How's business?
How does it look? People are leaving in droves because we can't service them. And the ones who are still waiting are furious.
Have you considered writing your congresspersons, urging them to support child care?
That's a good idea. I'm going to do that. In the meantime, can you grab a register for me?
No. All over Humboldt County, people found themselves profoundly affected by the lack of child care.
2 of my classes have been cut because my professors have to stay home. This means I I can't graduate this year, and I can't afford to come back next year. My student loans have been maxed out.
So, we went to visit Mom, who's like 94. Thank God we check in on her every day.
She'd fallen. She could not get up.
We're like, where's your nurse, Mom?
She said her nurse had to stay home with her kids.
It seems Mom told her, I'll be all right. And we're like, no, you will not be all right.
We tried to go out to dinner tonight, but there was only one waitress for 15 tables.
We waited over an hour just to get our menus.
So we left.
My husband and I wanted to spend a week's vacation in Humboldt County. But after 2 days at the motel, with no room service, no maid service, no one available to help us figure out the Wi-Fi, we just said, to heck with it. We're going home.
Your call is very important to us.
My computer got a virus. I can't do my job. I can't even get online. I've been on hold and tech support for 5 hours. They say they're short-staffed.
Another factor contributing to the childcare crisis is the low wages childcare providers earn. Consequently, they are leaving the field faster than a herd of Holsteins at milking time.
It's such a high-stress job. I'm not surprised everyone has disappeared.
What was it like?
Well, I was with a couple dozen preschoolers for 8 to 10 hours a day. They need constant supervision, plus guided enrichment activities. Did you know that the brain undergoes most of its growth during the first 5 years of life? Early learning experiences shape the architecture of the brain and have a powerful impact on later capacity to learn. A 2-year-old has twice as many synaptic connections as an adult.
That's almost 200%.
Yeah. So this is the time to make connections and build foundations. Preschool helps ensure later academic achievement. It also helps develop good attachment relationships, which seems to be the #1 indicator of optimal development.
Obviously, childcare has a correlative effect on the economy, so I decided to talk with an economist.
Early childhood development is not just good for the children, it's good for the economy. In difficult financial times, our priorities as Americans compete with each other for funding. We would do well to remember that our children should always come first. Children who start life with high-quality early learning opportunities require fewer additional resources throughout their educational years. Quality childcare is an essential part of a healthy upbringing, a catalyst in preventing drug abuse, and crime, and poverty. By investing in childcare now, the need for aid programs in the future diminishes. To not support child care subsidies because it's expensive is being penny wise and pound foolish. The rate of return for investment in quality early childhood education is 7 to 10% per annum.
What does that mean in layman's terms?
It means every dollar spent in child care yields $2 in economic output.
200%. My final interview would conclude our update in summary. I spoke with Eleanor Wilson, early childhood educator. From what we've learned so far, there's a strong case for making childcare our highest priority. What's your take on that?
It is not an exaggeration to say that the strength of our nation is reflected in the strength of family units. The future of our society is contingent on how well we prepare our young children to be tomorrow's leaders. People need to let our lawmakers know that childcare should be our highest priority.
Sounds to me like you feel pretty strongly that childcare should be our highest priority.
Yes.
What can you as an individual do? You can visit the website on your screen for a list of suggested actions to take. This concludes today's update on the the childcare crisis.
We all sing with the same voice, the same song, the same voice. We all sing with the same voice, and we sing in harmony. We all sing with the same voice, the same song, the same voice. We all sing with the same voice, and we sing.
Next, we have Mr. Christopher Gallagher from TD Bank, who will discuss financial literacy, education, and poverty.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Chris Gallagher. I'm at TD Bank in Paramus, New Jersey. I'm also a STAT graduate. I got both my undergrad and master's here. So today I'm going to talk about poverty, but what I'm going to really talk about is financial literacy. And I'm going to use the terms financial literacy and poverty kind of as antonyms, because so far we've talked about how people are kind of born into poverty and how it is a global crisis, but there's also a crisis where people fall into poverty because they don't have financial literacy or they don't strive for financial independence. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So the key to addressing poverty is to understand the concept of financial independence. To understand the concept of financial independence, you have to understand how important it is to save. I'm going to start and end with a quote, and I like this quote because it really sums up not only financial independence, but just how important it really is to save. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you spend. You could have someone who makes $500,000 a year or someone who makes $30,000 a year. But the person who makes $30,000 a year could have better financial independence than the person making $500,000. That's possible because a lot of times people live beyond their means. If you're making $5,000 a month and you're spending $6,000 a month, well, you're losing $1,000 every month. If you make $500 a month but you spend $300, then you have $200 more every month. So it's not how much money you spend, it's not how much money you make, it's about how much money you spend. So to achieve, well, first off, what is financial independence? It could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For some people it means making ends meet without the assistance of others. For some people it means meeting all your obligations while still having enough money at the end of the month to save for retirement or to buy something, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's both. Financial independence is whatever is going to allow you to be financially independent, and it has a different meaning for everybody. So how can you achieve financial independence? Well, the first step is creating a budget. How do you create a budget? The easiest way is to take however much money you're making every month, take however much money you spend on bills or whatever you need to survive. Whatever's left over is your extra. What you use for extra is whether it's for fun or to save. How you break down those numbers is really depending on your goals. If you want to save for something or you want to put a lot of money towards retirement, you want to save a good portion of that money. If that's not as important to you, you want to spend it on fun, to go out, go out to dinner, buy stuff, whatever it may be, put more of your money towards fun. But the point is you should always have some money that you're going to save. As long as you save a little bit, then you're going towards your goal of financial independence. It's also important to prioritize your spending. Most of you, all of you will be graduating in the next couple of years or couple of months, and you're going to have a lot of new things that you either have to buy or you're going to start investing in your future. So you have to prioritize what you're going to spend your money on. Probably one of the most important things you guys are going to spend money on is moving out, buying your own place or renting your own place. If you can buy your own place, that's great, but a lot of times it's not always feasible right when you get out of college, and that's fine. But there are ways to rent places that can still help you save without breaking the bank. When you go to rent, you're going to most likely have to put down 2 months' rent and a security deposit. Once you do that, you have to make sure you can afford your monthly rent payments. A lot of times that can be very hard, but there are ways to make sure you can minimize those rent payments so you still have enough money at the end of the month to save. One of those ways is to find a place to rent that includes utilities. If utilities are included in your rent, that's one less bill you have to pay at the end of the month. Another thing you could do is to have a roommate. If you have a roommate, your monthly bills are cut in half. Now you can double how much you can save at the end of the month because you have somebody else living with you. Another key thing that you're gonna, if you already bought or you're going to be buying, is a car. You need a car to get from point A to B. You need a car to get to your work, to your job. A lot of times we want the best car, you know, a flashy car, a premium car, the most expensive car, because it looks great. But the goal of a car is to get from point A to B. It's to help you get to your job so you can make money. A lot of times people overlook the fact that they can buy a used car or a car, not a premium car, and save a lot of money. A new car averages about $25,000, $26,000, but that same car, 2 years old, can average maybe half that, $12,000, $13,000. So that's that much less money going towards a car. You're still achieving the same goal. Another key thing to remember, especially as you graduate college, is the importance of building responsible credit. Credit is literally the key to achieving financial independence. Without good credit, there's really not too much you can do. It's very important to start now to build your credit. So how do you guys do that as students? Most of you, I'm sure, have student loans. Congratulations, you've already started building good credit. But what happens now when those loans become due? It can be very stressful sometimes because a lot of times those payments can be quite high. Always remember that as students, you have options for your student loans. A lot of the student loan companies will or have to work with you depending on your financial situation. If you can't get a job right out of school, you can lower your monthly payments to the minimum so that you're not putting out more than you can afford towards your student loans. Call the loan companies, work with them to minimize your monthly payments so you're not burdening yourselves and hindering how much you can save. Another way to build responsible credit is to have a credit card. Now, I'll preface that by cautioning that credit cards can be good if they're used properly. A lot of times people get into trouble with credit cards for obvious reasons, spending more than they can afford to pay. Just to illustrate that quick, I'll just make a quick example. So, let's say you're at the mall and you see something you really want to buy. The new iPhone's out. You want to spend $1,000 on the new iPhone 10. That's great. The new iPhone looks awesome. But just think about the average interest rate for a credit card is 20%. So let's say you can't afford to pay that full $1,000 in the first month. Let's say you pay $200 of it, so you leave $800 left. Okay, so you made your minimum payment, that's good, the bank won't bother you. So now you owe $800 for that iPhone, but you didn't pay it off in the first month, so interest is going to hit. Interest 20% on $800 is $160. So now your $800 bill went to $960. That $200 payment you just made was actually $40. So you can see how that can escalate very quickly. You keep using your card and you're not paying it off. So if you get a credit card, it's good to help you build credit. It establishes a line of credit. It allows you to build for the future, and it's also good for an emergency. But it's very important to not fall into the trap of spending more than you can afford and not paying what your full balance is, letting that interest build up so that the payments become more than you can actually afford. And the last thing I want to talk about is clothing. A lot of people get into trouble because the new styles come out, they want the latest and greatest clothing, and that's great. Clothing is very important to help you build for the future. In fact, on your job interview, when you get the job, it's very important to dress for success. They always say you want to dress for the job that you want, not for the job you have. So it is important to dress great, but you can do that cost effectively. You don't need the latest style. You don't need the most expensive brand. The goal is to make yourself look presentable and professional, and you can do that cost effectively. You don't have to go to the high-end stores. You can go to a department store. You can go to a discount store. You can even go to a thrift store and buy secondhand clothes. As long as you're accomplishing your goal of looking professional and presentable, then you don't need to spend a fortune for it. So, to sum up, the key to avoiding poverty is to build financial independence. No matter what your definition of financial independence is, you need to plan and build for the future. So I'm going to close with the quote that I said earlier. Always remember, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you spend. You can live beyond your means or you can live under your means, but it's always how much money you spend that'll lead to your financial success. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is JONELLE Ward from the Alzheimer's Association. I hope you don't leave because we have some very important information to share with you this morning. Thank you so much to the School of Business for having us here with you this morning. So I wanted to start off with a little bit of history, just to give you some context about what the nature of this disease is all about. In 1906, a German psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Alois Alzheimer first discovered this peculiar disease in a 51-year-old woman by the name of Augusta D. Okay, so he was credited with the first published case of Alzheimer's disease, and that's why we call it Alzheimer's disease today. And I'm not in slideshow. Okay. Okay, so Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging. There's a lot of misconception today about what actually Alzheimer's disease is, and what dementia is, and what's normal with the aging process. Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging. It is very normal for individuals to experience some level of cognitive decline as they age, but we call this age-related memory impairment. And I'll give you an example so you can differentiate between the two. An age-related memory impairment would be something like not remembering the name of a colleague, all right? Someone with Alzheimer's disease would no longer recognize or know the names of their family members. How many people here are affected in some way with Alzheimer's disease or have a personal connection to the disease? Okay. So what exactly is Alzheimer's disease? It's the most common type of dementia. Over 70% of people are affected with Alzheimer's disease nationwide. It is a brain disorder, okay? It is progressive in nature, which means that it does not get better over time, and it causes problems with memory, thinking, and behavior. Unfortunately, there is not a cure for Alzheimer's disease, and it is eventually fatal. So this is a visual of what occurs in the brain in various stages, the first being very early stage, the second, the mild to moderate stage, and the last, very severe Alzheimer's disease. That blue part that you see is are the plaques and the tangles, and this is the protein that builds up in the brain, okay? And these are the hallmarks of the disease, and for some reason, individuals affected with Alzheimer's disease don't have the ability to discard this protein at normal rates, and it builds up in the brain, therefore causing a damage to nerve cells, and the brain does shrink in size. Okay, so this is a cross-section of the brain. You can see on your left there a very healthy brain, and you can see on your right a brain that has severe Alzheimer's disease. Okay, that's what actually happens in the brain. Alzheimer's disease causes physical changes to the brain where it shrinks in size. Okay, just briefly, dementia is not a specific disease. It is actually an overall term describing a wide range of symptoms, and these individuals do experience a loss in cognitive functioning serious enough to interfere with daily living. It causes changes in memory, language, thought, navigation, behavior. One way to remember the difference is that while Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia, not all dementia is Alzheimer's disease. Okay. So I wanted to touch on the current landscape today. We do have a rapidly aging population. About 10,000 baby boomers turn age 65 every single day. Those individuals that were born between 1946 and 1964 are aging. Okay, that window of time, for some reason, there was a lot of births, and we're experiencing an aging population like never ever before. 1 in 8 Americans are actually over the age of 65. And because older adults are living longer, we generally assume that they're living healthier and healthy lives. But unfortunately, many of these older adults do face dependency and are living alone. Okay? Alzheimer's disease, just to go over some of the facts and figures, Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death. There's more than 5 million Americans that are living with Alzheimer's today. Okay, that's 1 in 10, age 65 and older, that has the disease. And by 2050, projections show that the total number of people living with Alzheimer's disease could very well reach 16 million people. So this is a pie chart just to give you a visual of the largest segment of the population affected with Alzheimer's disease, which is the purple area, those between age 75 and 84 years old at 44%. So I wanted to also show you our facts and figures video to just illustrate some of the highlights of what's going on in the current landscape of Alzheimer's disease. Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties and will not be sharing the video today, but please go to our website and you can view it there. Okay. Now, Alzheimer's disease is having a large public health impact, okay? It's having a large impact on caregivers, okay? Caregivers estimated are about 50 million caregivers are taking care of someone with Alzheimer's disease. It's an enormous strain on families. Caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease takes longer and it does last longer. And although it can be very rewarding for many individuals, it often has a negative health impact on caregivers. They experience different things physically, different health conditions as a result. And what does caregiving look like? Well, these caregivers have to manage activities of daily living. They have to administer medications, often manage behaviors, make living arrangements, legal and financial planning, as well as long-term care planning. With respect to mortality and morbidity, Alzheimer's disease is the sixth leading cause of death. And on this chart, I just wanted to illustrate to you that between the years of 2000 and 2013, you can see that there's a significant decrease in deaths for other diseases, but Alzheimer's disease has actually increased. The deaths for Alzheimer's disease have increased over those years. Alzheimer's disease is a very, very long course. The duration of the illness can last anywhere from 4 to 20 years. So many individuals are living a very, very long time with Alzheimer's disease, and this can create a burden for many people. The percentage of an individual's time living in nursing homes can be quite long, and it will affect their quality of life and years of life lost. Okay. With respect to the use and costs of healthcare, Alzheimer's disease is the most expensive disease in the US. About $259 billion, according to this chart here, across all payment sources. This is the number that's being paid right now for care of Alzheimer's disease, $259 billion. And what is needed for someone with Alzheimer's disease? Well, that individual may need assisted living. They may need to be in a skilled nursing facility. They may need home care. They may need day programs, medications, and often have longer hospital stays. I thought this was very important to bring to your attention. For every $100 the government spends on Alzheimer's research, it spends more than $25,000 on care for people with Alzheimer's and other dementias. Okay. So what are we doing locally? How can we lend our voices on behalf of those affected? Well, we advocate and we act. Okay? Alzheimer's advocates play an important role in improving the quality of care and quality of life for people with Alzheimer's disease and their families by working to improve dementia care and services, improve access to community-based care, improve quality care in residential settings, and expand funding for research and public programs serving people and dementia. And if anybody is interested in getting involved with our association and our cause, you can attend Lobby Day with us and our advocacy forum in Washington, D.C., where we speak with legislators about what is going on here in our communities. And it's a good opportunity for us to share our experience, because hearing the real stories can be very, very impactful for local officials. And it's crucial for the state to be prepared with programs and services to support the number of people here in our community affected with Alzheimer's disease. Another program that we've started to engage diverse communities is our faith-based initiative called Purple Sunday. And this program has served as a vehicle to connect caregivers to necessary resources, as well as to allow us to reach out to those communities that are disenfranchised. Oftentimes, access is an issue for those individuals that are underserved, and this community has allowed us to provide information and resources that are necessary to individuals affected with Alzheimer's disease in these communities. So we partner with inner city churches in our chapter territory to increase awareness about Alzheimer's disease and the importance of early diagnosis. We connect underserved groups to necessary support services, and we enhance health literacy. Health literacy being the degree to which an individual has the capacity to obtain, process, and understand basic health information to make more informed health decisions. That's very, very important to arm individuals in underserved communities with the tools to be able to ask the necessary questions. These are some images of what Purple Sunday looks like. What it entails is wearing purple to the service. We set up a table of information and literature for people in the congregation to receive more information. And it's been a very valuable way for us at the chapter to get our message across and to support individuals in underserved communities that may otherwise not have the opportunity to engage with our chapter. So how many people here have heard about the Alzheimer's Association? That's not enough. So I wanted to share with you who we are and what we do. The Alzheimer's Association is the world's leading voluntary health organization in Alzheimer's care and support. We are a local chapter of the national organization, which is located in Chicago. Our vision is a world without Alzheimer's disease. Our mission is to eliminate Alzheimer's disease through the advancement of research, to provide and enhance care and support for all affected, and to reduce the risk of dementia through the promotion of brain health. These are some of our services. We have a 24-hour helpline. For anybody that needs immediate help, you can call our helpline number, which is 1-800-272-3900, and you will get a live agent who can help you with your concern at that time. We also offer support services, care consultations, support groups for caregivers and persons with dementia, joint enrichment opportunities. We have memory cafes and wellness retreats. And these joint enrichment opportunities are very important to defeat isolation. We have a lot of older adults in our community that are living alone, okay? And we offer education programs as well to educate the community about what to look for. What are the 10 signs? What are the basics of Alzheimer's disease and other legal and financial issues? And we also offer safety services to ensure that people have tools to get their individuals safely home if they are wandering. We encourage you to attend our table outside at the fair. There is a staff person there who will be able to talk with you more directly if you have any concerns or if you're personally affected. I want to thank again the School of Business for having us here today. And I want to close by saying not too long ago I was in your same seats, and it's really been a privilege to work on behalf of the social welfare of older adults, and I encourage you to do the same. If we reach one person who has not been reached before and provide them with information, we've done a big job. So thank you very much.